Hey guys, it's Rob, aka Wormz from Team Six Pack, and I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about tactics on the battlefield. I know everyone's got their own unique play style, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do usually when I'm on the field. A little bit of backstory first. I'm only 5'4", so I'm a short guy. I've always been the short guy, but I actually use that to my advantage now when I play Airsoft. I'm so small that I'm able to actually sneak behind enemy lines, get kills all the time from it, and sneaking in general I find is like a really great tactic to use. In my opinion, invisibility is next to invincibility on the battlefield. So I'm just going to tell you about a little anecdote here about a battle happened it was probably about a year ago. Game type, we had to capture several objectives, buildings across the whole map, and there were some buildings that were in the open, it was like a CQB village. And then we have some buildings that are in the woods, so that are pretty well concealed. One building in particular we had captured early on in the game, and we left about a couple squads, probably about 10 to 12 guys there to defend it. Mind you, this is a pretty big game. There's probably about 75 people per team. So, we left these guys to defend it. It's a building surrounded pretty much all by woods, really thick brush. And unfortunately, there wasn't enough guys there to defend it. Huge enemy force comes, probably about 40 to 50 guys, to take this building. I heard the firefight erupting. I was in another part of the map, and I could hear it from where I was fairly close by. I was close enough where I could hear the shooting. So I decided to head over, see what I could do. I'd like to point out I was wearing my custom-made camo cape poncho thing. Pretty much what I did was went to Walmart, got some material for cheap, and just sewed it into like a cape poncho. I don't know what you would call it really. It looks like a cape, but you could kind of like conceal your whole body with it, so I guess it's a poncho. Anyway, I was able to get myself into a position between both the building and the enemy squads. From where I could see, the enemy squads were trying to surround this building and pretty much take out the guys that were in it one by one and overwhelm them with their superior numbers. So essentially, what I did was I just moved back and forth through the brush, took out guys one by one, and because I was moving silently and invisibly, they weren't able to find me, and I lasted pretty long, got upwards of 10, 12 kills before they finally found me and killed me. And it was actually my own mistake. I probably could have lasted longer, but I stuck out in the open to take out a squad of guys, hit the first guy, the second guy got me. But anyway, this tactic on the battlefield of sneaking around and hitting people from behind, especially during a firefight when they're distracted by your allies, it's a superior tactic. So here's a couple tips on how to be basically invisible on the battlefield. Probably the most important thing I could tell you is to move silently and always be aware of your surroundings. If you step on a branch or some crispy dry leaves or anything, that could immediately alert any enemies that are nearby to your presence, and especially the people that are listening for, humans moving through the woods. I find the best thing to do is to just use small steps, watch where you're stepping. Obviously, look for any kind of mossy patches or large rocks that you could step on, because that'll kind of mask the sound, especially if it hasn't rained in a while and the leaves are really dry and crispy. You want to try to avoid walking across any kind of dry leaves. Obviously, you can't always do that if you're in the woods, but, you do the best you can. Using small steps definitely helps. You'll also... Probably the second most important thing, obviously, is camouflage. I personally like to use more of the, I guess you could say traditional camouflages. I don't really like digital at all. I mean, I understand why people use it. Good for them. I wouldn't go against anybody for using it. I personally just don't like it. I think just use it like the way it looks blocky and stuff. I know a lot of people, especially in woods, like to use the marine digital, and it just, I don't know, the blockiness just doesn't seem to look right to me. So in addition to the camo cape that I mentioned before, which is a woodland camo, like old-fashioned woodland camo, I also use a tiger stripe pants and a tiger stripe jacket, and that I only generally use for the summertime when the greens and browns would work better. Using any kind of blacks, I really would discourage. Black is alright if you're playing a night game, because you want to stay as concealed in the shadows as possible, but during the day, black in the woods sticks out like a sore thumb, because black doesn't really occur naturally in nature. I mean, obviously animals are black and stuff like that, but in terms of plant life, you want to look like, as best you can, the plant life. So I tend to stick with greens and browns. For wintertime, I use like an urban camo pants, and usually just a black something or other. I have a I actually recently bought a white poncho, Spec Ops poncho. I haven't been able to use it yet. There wasn't enough snow on the ground when we were playing, so I didn't bother using it. I eventually would like to use it, but it's, you know, basic snow camo. It's got like some splotches of gray, mostly white, but splotches of gray, you know, to make it look more natural. But yeah, you want to try to blend in as best with the environment you're looking at. Obviously, if you're playing in the woods, you don't want to wear desert camo. A lot of people wear desert camo just because they're in the army, or they like the army's camo, or whatever, for whatever reason. Doesn't really work in a woodland setting. I mean, it does. It will conceal you a little bit, but you want to ideally look like the vegetation that's in the environment you're playing. Again, you wouldn't want to use woodland camo in a desert or a dirt area or an urban zone or something like that. Also, what you want to do is cover up as much skin as possible. I know that's really hard to do when it's hot out and, you know, the sun's beating down on you, but human skin is very oily, so it's like got a sheen to it that shines in the sunlight, and that is a really big giveaway. You also want to try to, as best you can, break up the human form. A trained observer who's looking for somebody in the woods will look for telltale signs of people, which is anything that's shiny, like I said, skin or goggles, scopes, whatever. You want to keep those concealed. And they're also going to look for the human form, which is generally what they're told to look for, is head and shoulders, because it's like very distinct. You know, people have a very distinct frame about them, and it's, when you're looking for someone in the woods, that's what you want to look for, is a person. So any way you could break that up, you know, you can put branches in your helmet. Like I said, the cape works pretty good at doing that, breaking up the form. But again, they say digital camo is good for breaking that up, but I disagree with that. Again, I'm not a professional, so if I was a professional camo maker, I guess, you know, maybe I would agree with that, but I digress. You just want to make yourself look as natural as possible for the environment you're in, and move as silently as possible. I know a lot of people also use ghillie suits. It's good if you're a sniper, but if you're going to build a ghillie suit, don't just buy one at the store. Go to wherever you're going, whatever environment you're going in, and take with vegetation that's natural to there. Otherwise, again, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb because you're using vegetation that's not in that area. Anyway, that's all for now. Be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the battlefield. Good hunting.